Guys, we are halfway through the season. Let's start talking about the contenders and the pretenders. Hey guys, Diggs Report here, back to you with another video. And this time we're going to talk about the pretenders and the contenders. We're halfway through the season, so we're starting to get an idea of who's going to be in until the end and who's going to be waiting until next year. Let's jump right in. Alright, we're going to start with the AFC East. And with the Buffalo Bills, they're contenders. They are winning the division right now. They've been playing some really good football. The offense has been a little inconsistent, but the defense has been keeping them in games. Buffalo is a contender. Miami, they have had some nice wins, but they've also been a little inconsistent. I'm going to go with pretender. I think that they are not going to be ready until next year. They are definitely building, but I just don't think they're contenders this year. The New England Patriots, I hate to say it, but they're pretenders. They are 2-5 right now. They would really have to go on a winning streak to get back into this playoff race. And I got to go with pretender. The offense has not looked right. They've had injuries. They had opt-outs before the season. This is just not the same Patriots team that we have seen in years prior. And for the New York Jets, worst team in the NFL, they're pretenders. Let's move on to the AFC North. All right, in the AFC North, Baltimore and Cleveland are a question mark. For Cleveland, they're 5-3, but the problem is they lost to both Pittsburgh and Baltimore. They got killed. They did not score more than 10 points in either of those games. They gave up 38 points to both teams. I don't know if this team is quite ready to go on a run. They're making strides, but I just don't think it's really their year. Maybe next year, but they got to show more on the field. We'll see what happens when they play the Steelers and the Ravens again later. And as for Baltimore, they're 5-2, but their passing game has been struggling all season. Lamar Jackson has not played like an MVP. The receivers are not getting involved. Something's just not right with that passing game. And if they want to make a deep run, they have to do something in the passing game. The defense is fine. The running game's fine. It's just that passing game that's a real concern. So both Baltimore and Cleveland are question marks. Cincinnati are pretenders, but they have played hard all season. They are building towards the future. You gotta like where Cincinnati's headed, and for Pittsburgh, they're the best team in the NFL. They are the only undefeated. They could end the season 16-0. You look at that schedule, I don't think there's anybody that can stop Pittsburgh. Maybe Buffalo, by a miracle, maybe the Ravens. I don't know, but Pittsburgh, there's a good chance they could go 16-0. In the AFC South, the Houston Texans are pretenders. Bill O'Brien has basically turned the Texans from one of the best teams in the NFL into one of the worst. When he traded away DeAndre Hopkins, but that's not even it. Traded away David Clowney, traded a lot of draft picks for Laramie Tunsil. He's done a lot of things that has really affected the Texans, and that's why they're pretenders. And we're going to see what happens during the offseason, because remember, they don't have a whole lot of picks coming up with Deshaun Watson. You don't want to see his prime years wasted because Houston can't build its team. This is a very important offseason coming up for the Texans. The Indianapolis Colts, they're contenders. They are 5-3 right now. Yeah, they've been a little up and down, but when you're 5-3, you've had some quality wins. I'm going to go with contender on this one. Jacksonville, they're pretenders. We know this. They're probably going to be looking for a quarterback in the NFL draft. Jacksonville, they have not played well all season. They won their first game, and then they've lost every single game since. And as for Tennessee, well, they may have lost 2 straight, but they are still contenders. They have been playing well, but they have got to stop that losing streak this week, or else it could spiral downhill. You never know when a season can just spiral downhill. And if Tennessee cannot get a win this weekend, they are in danger of letting that happen. In the AFC West, Kansas City is the only team that I'm calling a contender. Kansas City does have a great chance to repeat as champions. They're playing good football. They've had a few slip-ups, but they've also come back. They are in a great spot to repeat as champions. The Las Vegas Raiders, I'm putting them as a question mark. They've had some nice games, but they've also had games where they have struggled. If they could be more consistent down the line, I'll consider them a contender. And as for the Chargers and the Broncos, they're pretenders. They gotta wait till next year. But for the Chargers, they look like they have their quarterback in Justin Herbert. He's been playing really well. The problem is the Chargers just can't hold a lead. They can't hold a lead. They've got to be able to finish games, and that's their only issue. And as for the Broncos, they've had some injuries. They're going to get those pieces back next year. They probably could be contenders next year, but they've got to keep building that team. Alright guys, that was the AFC. Let's move on to the NFC. Alright, I'm just going to make this simple. The AFC East is a laughingstock right now. Every single team has a losing record, and none of these teams I'm calling contenders. None of these teams are contenders. They are all pretenders because this division is a joke this season. And the sad part is, the winner of this division is still going to get a home playoff game. That is sad. Anyway, on to the NFC North. Packers are contenders. They are winning the division. They've been playing some good football. Yeah, they had a slip up last week, but I expect them to rebound. And with Aaron Rodgers, Packers are going to be contenders. The Chicago Bears, I got a question mark there. The defense has been playing nice, but the offense has not been doing well. Both Mitchell Trubisky and Nick Foles have struggled at quarterback. If the Bears want to make some noise in the playoffs, they've got to figure out what's going on with this offense. And for Detroit and the Vikings, they're pretenders. Detroit, they have been so inconsistent. Maybe they can get some more consistency, but I just don't see it from them. And as for the Vikings, they're 5-2, and I just don't see them rebounding enough. They're already building for next year. They might be a dark horse candidate for a quarterback if they think that Kirk Cousins is not going to be their guy. That's a storyline to look out for in the offseason. Could the Vikings look for a quarterback? In the NFC South, the Atlanta Falcons are pretenders. They've already fired Dan Quinn. Raheem Morris took over as interim head coach. And to be fair, the Falcons, they are still fighting, but I just don't think it's going to be enough to get them back to the playoff race. And then you have to start wondering about the futures of Matt Ryan and Julio Jones in the next few years. The Carolina Panthers are pretenders. However, they are building. Teddy Bridgewater has been playing some good football. A little bit of an up and down, but for the most part, he's been playing good football. Panthers have some nice pieces, and they've been winning games without Christian McCaffrey. So think about what happens when they get him back, but I just don't think they're going to have enough to really make a run. They could sneak into the playoffs, but I don't think they're quite ready to make a run. But we could see next year. The New Orleans Saints, they're going to be contenders. They've been without Michael Thomas for a while, and they're still winning games. Yes, it's going to be better when he comes back, but the Saints are still in that playoff hunt. They still have Drew Brees. Even though people are saying Drew Brees, he's not the same guy, he's still a really good quarterback in this league. And as for the Buccaneers, what do you think? They're contenders. Brady's been playing well. The Buccaneers defense is playing well. This team is really coming together, and Brady might get his 7th ring. In the NFC West, I'm going to go with contender for Arizona. That might shock some people, but they've had some quality wins. Kyler Murray is really developing as a quarterback, and they are really playing some good football. So I'm going to go with contender for Arizona. Seattle is a contender because of Russell Wilson. He's playing like an MVP. He might be the MVP this year. I'm hoping that he can continue to play like that, but their defense has got to improve. If they want to make a deep run, the defense has got to get better as the season comes to an end. And as for the Rams and the 49ers, I got a question mark for them. For the 49ers, now Kittle and Garoppolo are going to be out for a while. They've already lost Nick Bosa and Solomon Thomas for the season. They have had injuries all throughout this season. It is going to be tough for them to even get back to the playoffs, let alone defend their NFC crown. And for the Rams, they have been up and down. That loss against Miami, it really does make me wonder how this Rams team is going to be able to do towards the second half of the season. So we're going to find out. Alright guys, those were my pretenders and contenders. Let me know down below what you think. Do you think some of my contenders are actually pretenders? Or some of my pretenders are contenders? Let me know. And I'll see you next time.